I've been working in the sports betting industry for about 10 years now, and here's three things that everybody needs to know. Now, I've done everything in the sports betting industry. I've worked for analyst companies, I've worked for betting groups, I've capped my own plays, I've done data analytics, I've done the marketing, sales, I've done it all. And the biggest tip I have for beginners is if you aren't sports betting, don't start. The reason for this is because, like everyone says, it is so hard to win long term. Especially if you're new, you might fall for that get rich quick scheme, that lifestyle of making thousands of dollars every day, when in reality, it's not the truth. In order to actually be profitable long term, you need to dedicate hours every day to your market reading skills, to finding edges in the marketplace, to analyzing games. It's just like a full-time job. Most people want to half-ass it. Most people want to bet stuff with no value, and that will lead you to a negative bankroll very, very quickly. The majority of people don't have the adequate time or resources to actually develop a process that can bring you long-term profits. So they start buying other people's picks. The issue with this is 9 out of 10 times the person that you're buying picks from doesn't know what they're doing either, and they don't have a long-term advantage. So it becomes this ever-ending cycle of trying to get results the easiest and most convenient way possible, but also losing long-term. The second thing is bankroll management is everything. Once you dedicate the time, and if you start taking it seriously and actually investing your time and resources into becoming a good sports bettor, you have to have bankroll management and you have to be disciplined to even make any sort of profit. Now, a ton of people out there have addictive personalities, and once they start going up a little bit of money, they start chasing, they start doubling down, and this was me. I'm speaking from experience, but you have to have the emotional stability, and you need to dedicate an amount of capital that you're willing to risk and not deviate from a game plan. So if you start sports betting and have no game plan other than to make as much money as quickly as possible, I promise you, you will not. A super underrated tip here as well is treat it like an investment. Treat it like a long-term investment. There's going to be ups and downs, but by watching games, by looking at every play, by tracking everything on your phone all day, you're just going to waste your time and you're just going to drain yourself mentally. Once you place that bet, whether it has an edge or not in the market, it doesn't matter. By watching the game, by tracking these updates, it's not going to change the outcome. Last thing here, and this is just personal preference too, there's no real right way of doing it, but I recommend once you actually identify that you have an edge in the market or you're following someone that has an edge in the market and you're tracking all your bets to know if you're profitable long-term, you need to play the quantity game. Now, a lot of people out here bet 3, 5, 10 units on a few plays a day. That will make you go bankrupt. 1 unit should be 1% of your bankroll. That should be your standard wager on no matter what the bet is. If it's a high edge play, maybe 2, very, very rarely 3 units. But once you actually can identify that edge, the more often you bet, the more often you place wagers, the more you're going to win. Now, don't get me wrong. They need to be value plays. Don't just start betting random shit. But if you have a 1% edge in the market, if you bet 100 plays, you're going to return $1. Or if you wager $100, you're going to return $1. Now, you're not going to find edges in the market that are 5, 6, 7, 8%. So in order to realize these edges and to actually make capital quickly over these edges, you need to be placing more bets. So like I said, if I have a 1% edge long-term, every $100 I make or every $100 I bet, I'm going to make $1. So if it takes me 3 weeks to bet $100, it's not a worth it investment for the time and the money that you're spending. However, if you're betting $100 a day or $200 or $300 a day, you're going to realize that edge much quicker. Now, I'm using $100 as a random unit of measurement, but you need to have bankroll management. You need to be betting 1% per play. But once you can long-term identify that you have value, quantity is the game. Don't leave edges on the table. There are thousands of options, thousands of props each day on the sportsbook, and you can find value in lots of them every single day. So those are my tips. I hope that helps. Let me know any questions you have in the comment, and best of luck out there.